Hey guys, I'm Paul Lynn. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about trading and investing because I'm money minded. I like making money, and this is one of the ways that I do it. So, whenever you're first getting started in this and you start thinking, yeah, you know what? I would like to be in the stock market. I'd like to be dealing with crypto, and I keep hearing that there's money to be made in forex, and you hear all these terms and you see the stock charts and the price action, and you hear the rumors and the stories, and there are classes about how to do it. You see ads for these different brokerage firms, and on one hand you're thinking, God, man, it sounds too good to be true. It sounds like it's probably hard. And then on the other hand, you all also heard those ideas like, man, if you had just invested $1,000 in this company on this date, think how much money you'd have now, right? And you're like, ooh, it's got all the allure of like winning the lottery, but it's also not quite as random, and it's not nearly, the odds aren't nearly as stacked against you. You're not just gambling on random chance. Rather, you're putting your money into an investment based on, some amount of knowledge and speculation and logic. So, it's tempting. One of the first things that I want you to understand is the difference between trading and investing, okay? They're both great. There are both good ways to make some money. One of them is a little faster and riskier. The other one is a little slower and somewhat safer. But if you just understand a couple of different, aspects to this from the beginning, it's going to help you kind of figure out which direction you want to go in. Investing. Whenever you hear somebody talking about investing, this is what I want you to think about. This is when you basically are getting married to some type of instrument. When I say instrument, I mean it could be stock in a company, or it could be a crypto asset like Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever. But you are putting your money into that. You're buying a piece of that because you believe that over time, this thing is going to continue to grow and valuate, and at some point in the distant future, maybe that is 6 months later or a year later or 20 years down the road, you're going to be able to sell what you bought 20 years ago, and it's now going to be worth much, much, much more money, okay? That is how investment works. Trading, on the other hand, is not really concerned with how this thing is going to grow over a great amount of time. When you're trading, you're really only concerned with how it's going to grow over about the next hour or 2 hours, or at most maybe 3 or 4 days, okay? You're not trying to get married to this instrument. You're trying to have a one-night stand with this instrument. It's a fling, okay? You want to get in and get back out with a little bit of money in your pocket. So when I'm talking about trading, I'm looking for, let's say there's some stock that it goes up and it goes down and it goes up and it goes down, and oh, look at this. It happens to be down right now. Well, chances are when it gets here, it usually bounces back up. I think it probably will this time. So I'm going to go ahead and put some money into here and sit back and watch it and wait. And sure enough, after a couple of hours or a couple of days, it goes back up to where I thought it would go. And maybe I sit back and watch to see if it's going to go any higher. And it goes a little bit higher. And then it starts to turn around and go back down. And I go, sell. let me get out of there before it starts moving the wrong way. And I might have made a 3% return on my investment or a 5% return. And you're thinking, 3%? Paul, 3%? That's not much, guy, you know? And I'm like, you're right, 3% is not much. But when I'm using, let's say, $10,000 each time, and I'm getting 3% 5 or 6 times a week, and sometimes those 3% are a little wider, like 5 or 6%, you'd be surprised how quickly those 3% add up. You really would. So don't be discouraged by 3%. I mean, 3% for a trade, that's actually pretty good. Now, if you were investing for 5 years and you got a 3% return, okay, well, that's obviously horrible. You just lost a lot of money. But with that same stock, that you maybe invested in for 20 years and it matured and, it grew 300%, and you say, wow, 300% in 20 years, this is a fantastic investment. I say, well, I'm sure it is. But if I had been sitting there trading this stock back and forth for 20 years and getting 3% here and 5% there over and over again, just imagine how much more I could have ended up with rather than just putting my money in there and waiting for it. You see what I'm saying? So usually whenever you talk about investment, that is something that it's like any relationship. You don't just run out and marry the first person you see. You have to take the time and get to know that person, spend time together. You want to know about their past and their plans for the future, their dreams, their hopes, their fears. You really want to know what you're getting before you put a ring on it. When it comes to investing, the same thing is true. You don't just get a tip from some guy in some forum that says, oh yeah, I think this is a good investment. You say, really? Well, hell, I'm just going to put my life savings into that. That's pretty foolish. Rather, you want to know what this company is, when it was started, how it's grown and developed since it started, how profitable are they, how leveraged are they, how much debt do they have, how many employees do they have they ever had layoffs, do they pay dividends? You want to really learn the ins and outs of this company, what their prospects are for future growth, what their plans are for diversification and maturity. And you really, really want to get intimate with this, company, if it's a company, if you're dealing with stock, or if it's Bitcoin or something like that. I mean, you really want to study its history and trends and upcoming, regulations, and you really want to have a good sense of where this thing's going before you put a large sum of money into it and walk away and just hope for the best, right? With trading, you're really just kind of looking at how the price of this thing has moved for the last week or couple of months or so. And, you're saying, okay, if it's here, what are the chances it's going to go lower? And what are the chances it's going to go higher? Well, it may or may not go a little bit lower, not much lower, but it will definitely go up from here because it always seems to do that. Okay, I'm gonna bet that it's gonna go up. I'm gonna put my money in here, and if it starts to go down too far, I'll probably back out and maybe lose a little bit of money. But I expect it's going to go up, and if it does go up, I'm going to wait and, ride it up as long as it seems like it's going to keep going up, and then I'm going to get out and I'm going to take my money. Nice. Doing that doesn't require a lot of research. Personally, I trade stocks, and I do so frequently enough that I'm often trading stocks that I have no idea what these companies do or what they're all about or who the CEO, nothing. I really don't know about these companies. there's a little bit of information I look for just to see if, they're about to release an earnings statement or if there's been any significant news or rumors released about this company within the last few days. But once, I realize that things are either clear or in my favor, then I'll go ahead and play this stock and I'll take it for a ride or two or three. And, as long as it holds to whatever pattern I'm seeing, I'll keep at it. And then when it starts to drift away from that pattern, I'll walk away and I'll go find another stock that is kind of following a pattern, and I'll jump in and play with that one. But the point is, the research burden, you're going to hear a lot of different advice about how much research to do and what's necessary for trading and investing. And everybody has their own strategies for doing these things. That being said, the only criteria that I'm going to give you for any strategy that you decide you want to follow or learn is that make sure it works. If somebody has a strategy that is losing money almost as much as it's gaining money, I would propose that you learn a better strategy. And if somebody's got a strategy which you think sounds bad, but time and time again, the strategy's just always making money and hardly ever coming up short, give it a chance. It's probably worth it, whether that's my strategy or anybody else's. When it comes to trading and investing, the real goal for most of us is to make money, okay? There are people that invest based on political motivations and causes and activism and things like that. That's great. I cannot help you with that. All I can talk about is what I know, and that is trading to make money, to earn revenue, to get income coming in, all right? So I can play with $10,000 for a month, and I can gain about $6,000 during a month's time. So, as time goes on, I'm going to be teaching more and more about my strategies and how I trade and what I look for when I buy, when I sell, how I screen stocks and things like that. But that's for later videos. For right now, just to kind of get you warmed up, I want you to think about what kind of game do you want to play? Do you want to play the long-term game, which is usually a bit safer and a little bit slower return on investment? Or do you want to play the short-term game, which is a little bit riskier, it's a little bit more involved, and it is also capable of generating a whole lot more money faster? So that's what you need to figure out. What kind of player do you want to be? What game do you want to be in? Me, I am definitely a trader. I am absolutely not an investor. While I will talk about investment once in a while, by and large, most of what I cover is going to be related to trading. So definitely, if trading is kind of where you see yourself, subscribe. There's going to be more coming. Stick around. I'm going to keep talking about this thing and explaining how you can make money doing it. That's it. That's what I've got for you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.